Hello, good evening. Tonight in the South, a former Lord Mayor of Portsmouth appears in court to face charges of fraud and deception.
A special report on the South Coast, fast becoming Britain's new centre in the search for oil.
And I'm at Hove, where Sussex have made a quite extraordinary start to their championship programme. At lunch, they were 67 for 8 against Nottinghamshire, and that after being 19 for 8.
And I'll be joining these children on the Isle of Wight to find out what it was like to go to school 100 years ago today. Right. 0 3 is a 0, 1 3 is 3, 2 3 is 6, 3 3 is a 9, 4 3 is a 12.
But we begin tonight with the story of the Tyrrell, a tanker which is now lying at Hamble, blacked by the National Union of Seamen, after it arrived with a dozen crew who were literally starving.
To nip back into history as we go on with some unashamed Victorian nostalgia. If children these days think their teachers are a bit strict, then perhaps they should be grateful that they weren't at school 100 years ago, because the children at Gatten Lake School on the Isle of Wight have been celebrating their centenary today with a taste of Victorian life. And as they quickly discovered, school life was really a lot tougher then than it is now. Anne Dawson joined them as they arrived to school this very morning.
When this school was founded 100 years ago today, boys and girls certainly wouldn't have been allowed to mingle so freely in the playground. In those days, they were strictly segregated, with their own separate play areas and even separate entrances. But in the permissive 1980s, those rules have relaxed a little, even if the teachers haven't. But whatever the century, children don't seem to change.
Mr. Martin.
Somebody late. You're late again, boy. Would you take him off and reprimand him?
0 3 0, 1 3 3. Once inside the classroom, today saw a return to good old-fashioned basics. And in true Victorian style, the maths mistress was clearly not amused by any of that sort of thing.
1, 8, 3, 24, 9, 3, 27, 10, 3, 30.
It was the headmaster who thought up the idea of a Victorian day after looking through the school records.
The previous headmasters had been really splendid. They left terrific records of the past, and we saw that, in fact, the school opened in 1883, and we felt we ought to do justice to this fact.
And so what's sort of on the cards for today? You're going to be a bit of a disciplinarian, aren't
Well, yes, it'll be a fair bit of stick for them today. In fact, what we're doing is we're obviously doing lessons as close to 1883 as we can, so the children, we're doing a lot of rote learning, saying tables, doing various sums out loud. There'll be reading lessons where the children are reading out loud from one book all the way around the class.
And is it gruel for lunch?
I think sausages today, but gruel would be appropriate.
May the 4th, 1883. The infant school held in the Lake Mission Room closed today, the children being transferred to the new Gatten Lake Board School at Gatten. Since then, 4 generations of headmasters have kept all the school logs and a collection of photographs. They detail everything from the special celebrations on feast days and coronation days to the alarming number of children who died every year from whooping cough and diphtheria. And as a special project, the present pupils have been putting some of their impressions to paper, and they seem to have come up with a pretty unanimous verdict on Victorian teachers. But the teachers seem to believe in that all work and no play.
Do you think you'd like to have been a Victorian?
Yes,
Why do you think you'd have liked it?
because you'd be able to play marbles and lots of other interesting games instead of staying inside.
You've got hard work and you also get the cane and all that. And
What about the food?
well, I wouldn't like the food either.
You weren't allowed to get out of your seat. You always had to get permission.
They're a bit strict, were they?
Yes, they were very strict.
I like the clothes best.
You like wearing them today?
Well, fashions may change, but whatever the century, the grown-ups will still tell you that your school days are the happiest days of your life.
Here we are then.
Seems school life hasn't changed very much in the last 100 years.
No, I didn't get it.